basically.
Good evening and welcome to the July 26th meeting of the Lowell License Commission. Secretary Wynn, was the meeting posted?
Yes.
Number one on the agenda, please.
Starting with the the acceptance of meeting minutes for July 12, 2018.
Move acceptance.
Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howell. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Proceeding with the application for a special one-day license to dispense wines only. Jim Diamond, Executive Director, the Brush Art Gallery and Studios, 256 Market Street. Reception, the Epilepsy Foundation New England exhibit for Saturday, September 8th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Good evening. State your name for the record.
Good evening, Jim Diamond.
Hi, Jim. How are you tonight?
Doing well, thanks.
Good. What do we got going on?
We've had an opportunity to do a small exhibit for the Epilepsy Foundation of New England for the parents and some of the kids that are having a summer camp. So we're going to display the results and have a reception with the parents.
Very good. Comments, questions from the board? Move approved by Commissioner Donahue, seconded by Commissioner Howell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Jim, good luck with the event.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Proceeding now with applications for a special one-day license to sell, dispense malt beverages and wines only, or either one. Anthony Cantarino of Tremonte Restaurant Group, LLC, enclosed outdoor area at 44 Palmer Street, for Lowell Folk Festival 2018, Friday, July 27th, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., Saturday, July 28th, 12 noon to 11 p.m., and Sunday, July 29th, 12 noon to 6 p.m. Also, we have Tabitha Garnett, who is the catering manager of Aramark, for the Kathy Kendrick retirement party at the Allen House at 2 Solomon Way for Thursday, August 9th, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. We have Gabby Davis, made in Lowell, for the Kerouac Park Friday nights specials, starting with Friday, August 10th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., August 24th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., September 28th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., and October 12th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Good evening. State your names for the record, please.
Reading is for Anthony Contarino for Tremonte.
Thank you.
Tabitha Garnett with Aramark Catering.
Hi, Tabitha.
Gabby Davis, Maiden-Law.
Hi, Gabby. How are you?
Good.
Good. Captain LaFeria, any objections to these applications at all?
No objection.
All right. Questions or comments from the board, please? Move approved by Commissioner Howe, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Good luck with your events.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Proceeding now with number 3 on our meeting agenda, we have applications for a special event permit for amplified outdoor public entertainment, starting with Vicente Dalmaso, the Life Connection Center, for sound system for live music at JFK Plaza for the Brazilian Food Festival for Saturday, August 25th, 2018, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. We have Eric Sack, Lowell Southeast Asian Water Festival, live music, DJ, amplified speakers for the Southeast Asian Water Festival, Saturday, August 18th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., the Heritage Campus Pavilion, Pawtucket Boulevard. Gabby Davis is representative. We also have Gabby Davis, made in Lowell, for live music at Kerouac Park, Friday nights, August 10th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., August 24th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., September 28th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., and October 12th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also, we have Kevin Garcilla of the Merrimack Valley Sierra Club for acoustic guitar, singer, PA system, Lowell Drives Electric. This will be scheduled for Saturday, September 15th, 2018, 12 noon to 5 p.m. at the Heritage Farm Ice Cream Stand, Pawtucket Boulevard.
Good evening. State your names for the record, please.
Vicente Dalmaso.
Vicente, good evening.
Gabby Davis with the Southeast Asian Water Festival in Maiden-Law.
Kelvin Gasilla, Lowell Drives Electric with the Merrimack Sierra Club.
How you doing, Kevin? Secretary Nguyen, has Eric Sack held this permit before?
Gabby has volunteered to help in the matter. She's a representative for the Southeast Asian Water Festival. Gabby, I would trust you'll come to the microphone to speak to the board.
Absolutely. This year I have been hired on just very recently as the festival director for the Southeast Asian Water Festival. Eric, he is one of our board members. He was unable to make it tonight due to a work commitment that has taken him out of town. So he asked if I could come in his place. Do you have any further questions regarding the event itself?
I'd rather have your name on the permit.
All right.
Does any of the commissioners
She did
have-
offer an application, I might add. I didn't include it on the agenda because it was uncertain, without making a big issue with this, if I may. I would just say that Eric did come to me last Friday,
Yeah.
and he did broach the subject that he may not be able to make it. I
Okay.
didn't know Gabby would be stepping up to the plate until, I think it was Tuesday morning.
I didn't find out till Tuesday at 1 p.m. that he was most likely not going to be able to make it.
Okay, is Eric's name going to be on the permit?
If the commission chooses to have it amended to have Gabby, I can.
Any discussion from the commissioners, any preference?
Eric has been a representative for about 5 years at least.
Oh, he has?
Oh, he's been here.
All right, all right.
He's directly involved with Lowell Makes, if
Yeah.
you're familiar with that program that we had a representative
That's
here.
fine, that's fine. Okay, I understand. Thank you. Kevin, can you tell us about your event, please?
Hi.
Can you tell us about your event?
It's Lowell Drives Electric. We're going to have private owners and maybe a couple dealers showing off electric cars and things related with that. We would just want a singer and for entertainment. We're working with the owner of Heritage there. He's had car events with other kind of things, so we're following his suggestions to do it.
Do you know that Commissioner Donahue is an awesome singer? You might just want to give him a call, that's all. Vincente, can you tell us about your event, please?
Yes, the Brazilian Food Festival, it's a fundraiser that we do for Life Connection Center. We did it last year on August 26th, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great success, and we decided to do it again this year, around
Very
the
good.
same time.
Captain LaFerre, any objections?
No objections.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments from the board? Move approval by, oh, sorry,
I have a
Commissioner Howell.
question regarding the Kerouac Park. Just where are the bands located within the park?
At Kerouac Park?
Yes.
Currently, with the way the Kerouac Park is set up, I staged the band right near the Kerouac Park monuments because that's where the light tower is set up. And that's where my only electricity access is. Graciously from the City of Lowell, they provide a light tower for the event for lighting. Soon with the Kerouac Park project funding, we are actually hoping that there might be a stage later on next year or something. I don't know.
Okay. So the band's back is to the park, to the monument?
Yes, it's to the monument, and it plays out facing the bridge. Kind of, does that make sense?
And then the people are in front, obviously?
Yes,
Okay.
right there in the green.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wish of the board? Move for approval by Commissioner Howell, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Everyone, good luck with your events.
Thank you.
All right.
Proceeding now with number 4 on our meeting agenda, we have applications for sidewalk stand permits. Elena and Doug Brackett, doing business as Purple Carrot Bread Company at 107 Merrimack Street for a seasonal license for June through October 2018. We have Aaron Smith, Eleanor Toscano, Metro PCS at 117 Merrimack Street for a seasonal permit for June to October 2018. Is Minna Rizkala here? Mark Cordier, Mr. Chairman, if I may just point out, is not to be with us. And he will be coming to the next scheduled meeting, but if the board is so inclined for ratification at a later date, I would be issuing him a license for the, starting with the Folk Festival weekend. but he was scheduled to be here. He told me this afternoon about 1 o'clock that he could not make it. I have not heard from Minna, the other gentleman, but just for your information, Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Goddard has done this for years, I understand that, but I will say this, that this board has been very consistent and that the applicants be here for such a permit.
Great.
I would,
I'm sorry?
I would tell Mr. Goddard very politely that this won't happen again, right? Thank you.
I will articulate the board's wishes.
That's the word I was looking for. That's the word. State your names for the record, please.
Elena Brackett from Purple Cat Bread Company.
Elena, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good.
Elena Toscano from Metro PCS.
Hi, Eleanor, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So Mina Rascala is not here, Ryan?
I'm sorry?
Mina Rascala is not here?
Ellen Brackett?
No, Mina Rascala is
He's not here. He didn't show up at the last scheduled meeting, and obviously he's not here now.
All right, that's fine. Thank you very much. All right.
He was told, I articulated to him in specifics
Yep.
about
Okay.
being
That's
at the
fine.
meeting.
Ms. Toscano and Ms. Brackett, you've had these permits before?
I have not.
You have not? You understand your responsibilities with this permit?
Yes.
You do? Ms. Scott,
We've had one before,
You've had one
actually.
before, I know you have. Okay. Questions or comments from the board?
I just have a comment. The food at Purple Carrot is great. That's it.
That's a ring-in endorsement from Commissioner Howard.
Thank you.
Yep, you're on live TV. I mean, that's a great commercial. Motion by Commissioner Howe, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck with your event.
Thank you.
Okay.
Proceeding with number 5 on our meeting agenda, we have a public hearing on the application. The commission will open up a public hearing on the application for NAI Entertainment Holdings LLC, doing business as Showcase Cinema Lowell. Paula J. Keogh is the vice president. All alcoholic beverages restaurant licensee at 32 Reese Avenue for alteration of premises of main lobby, arcade. Licensee plans to repurpose south side of main lobby for 18 additional games and redemption center.
Good evening. State your name for the record.
Okay, good evening. For the record, Attorney Joe Tabby, Martha Kalina, 600 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn, here on behalf of the applicant. We're seeking approval from the commission to alter the premises, which alterations include the additional amusement devices and a addition of a redemption center as shown on the plan. With me is Sean Judge, who's the area manager. The applicant had obtained the various building and electrical permits to install an additional 18 amusement devices. They weren't aware that we had to come to the commission for permission to alter the premises. So the total number of amusement devices is 29. Sean has a larger plan if that to be helpful. I know the plan we submitted was small.
Counselor, can I ask you and your client to come over here, because I'm
Sure.
having a difficult time understanding this. Okay, so main entrance? All right, we come in here, right?
Yep.
And so the bar is over here, there's a bar over here, right?
The bar's right here.
Okay, the bar is right there.
Correct.
So this has been pretty much empty space for a while.
It's been our video games.
Yep.
And tables and chairs.
All right, so you're making this all an arcade?
Correct.
Right here, all of this, right?
With the redemption center right there.
With a redemption. Anything else change within this?
No.
Right, just this?
Just right.
Questions? You have any?
we redeeming?
Kids play games, they get tickets, they get like 20 points in Space Invaders, and they get some tickets, and they can trade it in for a pencil or...
Understood. Thank you, appreciate you coming up here. Yep. Do you have any further to add, Counselor? Or, well, you got a nice picture, so you got to show that, right?
Like to see them?
Sure. Yeah. So is that, before I get to that part, I take a right to go to the to the other cinemas. Isn't there an arcade in there as well? No. That's all, when you did the renovations for,
Where our bar is actually where the arcade used to be.
so this will be the complete arcade section, right? Got it, all right, okay.
And there's just more images of that seat space.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you. Commissioner Howe, can you have some questions?
Just a few questions. What is that area used for now?
It has been arcade games, machines, and tables and chairs, just a place for people to be before their, or after their movie.
And how many games are you adding?
18.
18.
8. And I noticed on the building permit, it said that interior demolition, what is being demolished? Or what is being,
They replaced walls and the wall covering.
okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Donahue, anything? Commissioner Krieger? Nothing. Anything further, Counselor? Oh, we have to open up a public hearing, I apologize. At this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Anybody like to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing no one, that portion of the public hearing is closed. At this time, we open up the public hearing. Anybody like to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Hearing no one. That portion of the public hearing is closed. What is the wish of the body? Move for approval by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Guys do a great job over there. Continued success.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Commission will now proceed with the number 6 item on our agenda. We have to open a public hearing on the application by Indian Restaurants LLC, doing business as Priya Indian Cuisine.
Good evening, this is Venkatesan Korpia.
The LLC manager,
LLC.
all alcoholic beverages restaurant licensee at 1270 Westford Street, unit number 10, for change of beneficial interest and for change of manager. It is requested that
Yes. Yes. This is Venkatesan Korpia from Indian Restaurants LLC.
be approved as manager of record for Indian Restaurants LLC. Public hearing for public comment.
I'm not even going to laugh at that, Ryan. I thought you did all right on that. Good evening. State your name for the record.
Sorry, sir. I didn't get you.
What's your name again?
Venkatesan Korpia.
Copia. Okay. How are you tonight?
Very good, sir.
Very good. So you are the proposed manager of record?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is the previous manager of record here?
He's not here.
He's not here. Okay. Can you tell us about some of your background in this business?
Yeah, we opened this restaurant like 9 years back. From day one, I'm here in this restaurant. I'm running day-to-day operation. So now I'm getting full beneficial of
So
interest.
you've been there since day one?
From day one. Like nine years before we opened this place for business.
Okay. Just give me 1 second here. I'm just looking through this. Anybody, any questions? Commissioner Howe, go ahead, please.
On your employment history, it says January 7th, 2009. So is that the date that you started?
Yes.
And it says position manager.
I run the operation, and the legal manager was Sam Zaminini, my partner.
Are you tip certified?
No, ma'am.
What type of training have you had in service of alcohol?
We are involved in this business for last 15 years. We do have before this also we run a couple of restaurants in Connecticut, and this restaurant we are running for like last 9 years.
And have you had any education regarding service of alcohol, regarding recognizing symptoms of being intoxicated?
Yeah, I do have knowledge of that, but I didn't really went for a certification course.
All right. Do you plan on taking one?
Yeah, I already registered for that, and I haven't took the exam yet for tips.
When is that?
I registered with them on Monday.
Okay.
So probably I'll be taking a test tomorrow or day after tomorrow.
Just to jump on Commissioner Howe's.
For the tip certificate.
All right. Concerning Commissioner Howe's worry there, not worry, but when you do take the course, I'd like to have the validation that you took the course and give it to Secretary Wynn, so we have it on file.
I
Okay?
can do that.
As part of this, okay?
Okay.
Everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Everybody good with that? All right. 2009. So he's been the manager there since pretty much it's open, since 2009, but not been the manager of record. So make sure he's tip certified, and we'll do it that way. At this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Anybody like to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing no one, that portion of the public hearing is closed. At this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Anybody in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Hearing no one, that portion of the public hearing is closed. What is the wish of the board? Moved by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. You're all set? Just please make sure that you have the validation of your tip certification, and make sure it's the Secretary Wynn, all right?
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Can't speak tonight. Thank you, Ryan. They all did, yeah.
Commission will now proceed with the meeting agenda item number 7, public hearing on the application by Gallery Z LLC, doing business as Gallery Z. Patricia Donahue is the LLC manager for a malt beverage and wine only restaurant license for premises at 167 Market Street, Unit C4 and C5. It is requested that Patricia Donahue be approved as manager of record for Gallery Z LLC.
Okay, the floor is Commissioner Donahue first.
We've had Patricia Donahue here a number of times in the past for smaller things, but now she's moving up in the world with liquor licenses. And I want to reiterate what I said at the first meeting she was attending, that we are not related in any way, although she spells it the same way, the right way.
Thank you very much.
No relation. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good evening. State your name for the record.
Patricia Donahue. And I'm
Counselor?
Richard Weicker. I'm here on behalf of Gallery Z and Ms. Donahue.
Councilor Weicker, we have an empty chair up here if you want to jump in again.
No, thank you. I appreciate not walking around with a bullseye.
Okay. The floor is yours, Councilor.
Look, as was previously stated, and my best joke was taken away about how she spells her name correctly, but Ms. Donahue is looking to actually move, rather than come in on a series of day-to-day licenses. We had the discussion, and a full-time license is actually better both from a regulatory standpoint and from an administrative standpoint. Administratively, she doesn't have to continue to apply and reapply. Regulatory, she's actually subject to more regulations on a full-time license than with a day-to-day license. It will eliminate some of the issues with respect to storage of alcohol and having to remove it off the premises at the expiration of a single-day license and then having to retrieve it for a next single-day license. So administratively, it will certainly make her life easier. Regulatorily, I believe it will make the Commission's job easier. We have had discussions with respect to TIPS training, with respect to learning how to spot fake IDs. I know that that is a big and recurring issue. that has been both here and in several parts of the state. We've also talked about some training with respect to, there's a retired ABCC inspector who gives classes, and we're going to look further into that. Right now, the type of operation that she's running is not really conducive to attracting the set that would necessarily be approaching with fake ID. It's an art gallery. We're not looking to put down hardwood floors and turn it into a nightclub. That's certainly not the plan.
Understood.
And it's an application, again, for just beer and wine, not all alcohol. So she's not looking to run a bar. She's looking to be able to serve beer and wine as she's been doing in other events, with dinner theaters, with gallery shows, with exhibits.
I thought she just didn't want to come and see us as often as she has, that's all.
To be honest, she said she just, the parking is tough.
I got you. Mrs. Don has always done a very good job over there. We've never had any issues. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? What is the wish of the body?
I have questions.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Howell, please.
I see on the application that you've been employed with Gallery Z since September of 2015, and what was your employment before that?
Self-employed, artist.
And what training do you have in service of alcohol?
I haven't got my tip certification yet. Whenever we've had our events, we've hired somebody who does have it. The only training that I do have is with the restaurant industry, and I do have a ServSafe.
So going forward, do you plan on hiring an independent contractor to come in and serve the alcohol?
I intend to hire, and I also intend to do this tip certification myself.
And how is the alcohol served? Do you have a bar?
We have we just put in a small little bar that we're also serving coffee at. And we'll have a small refrigerator this size with beer in it and a small case with wine in it. We're not intending on doing a very large volume. We're trying to get into maybe some specialty wines and some specialty beers that the crowd that normally comes to our gallery would appreciate. So,
Do you serve food with this?
yes, we do.
What type of food is it?
Well, we do. We're trying to add a little cafe pizza. We do sandwiches. Sometimes we do hot meals like crock pot dinners and things like that.
Thank you.
I think just for consistency, as per the last applicant, I would ask that you would be tip certified and that a copy of that be sent to Secretary Nguyen as well, okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. At this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing. At this time, open up the public hearing. Anybody to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing no one, that portion of the public hearing is closed. At this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Anybody like to speak in opposition? Yes, sir. Just step up to the lectern. State your name for the record, sir.
My name's Jeff Clark. I live at Era Lofts, which is directly across the alley from Gallery Z. My wife, Miriam, and I are not opposed to the license at all. We just request that the hours of operation be restricted. The Gallery Z has a large dining room that is facing the back of the building, directly facing Era Lofts, a 51-unit condominium. The distance between the large dining room and actually our windows is 15 feet. So we are concerned that they may be operating late at night potentially. And it doesn't quite sound like that, but we just wanted to make sure there are assurances that it's not going to turn into something like Uncharted and they've got music and a lot of loud people when we're trying to go to bed because we have to work the next morning. So we would request that the license be restricted, the hours of operation, to their current hours or something that's reasonable given the fact that their large dining room is 15 feet away from a 51-unit condo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilor Wyko, do you have any reply to the concern of the resident?
Sure. I understand the dining room that he's referring to, it seats 24 to 30 people. In the past, we have had musical guests come and perform there. We have ceased to do that, and we have moved that operation into the front of the gallery. The gallery goes straight to, all the way back to the alleyway that he's referring to.
Are we looking for a liquor license till, a beer and wine license till 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock? What's the
No.
license for?
Absolutely not, no.
What time is the
Yeah.
license being applied for?
The latest we can actually be open is 10 o'clock. According to our condo association, we have to be quiet by 10. We can still be open, I think, until 11, but we have to be quiet by 10.
So it's 10 o'clock, and you'll no longer be in that main hall where the residents' concern is that correct?
We're not intending on serving any of our alcohol in that there's two, you have to understand that there's a wall separating them.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think
the
his
back
concern
dining-
is about serving the alcohol, it's the noise level, is that
The
correct,
noise
sir?
level.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well, 10 o'clock was, is our shutdown time.
All right.
I don't want to be there any later, where our last drink will be served probably at 9:30, quarter of 10, the very latest.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Sure.
just for the commission, for the general public to understand, state law, Massachusetts law, licensing authorities cannot place any restrictions on a license holder between the hours of 11 a.m. and 11 p.m.
Right, yeah.
7 days a week.
Right.
So those hours are for the license holder. Now, whether you have the structured license fee as it is, the minimum license fee for beer and wine for 11 p.m. legal closing time is $500.
Okay, all right. Anything to add?
No, I would simply just summarize, her hours for noise are regulated by her lease inside the condo and the rules and regulations that govern that. So that's not something that we anticipate being an issue.
Okay.
I don't know that going past 11 would even really be much of an issue unless,
Yeah.
but I couldn't foresee that. But,
All right, sir.
But the noise is regulated.
I also understand what he's referring to when he refers to Uncharted.
Yeah.
Uncharted is a totally different animal than what we do. They have very loud bands.
Well, no disrespect, but this gentleman is here and he has a concern,
Yeah,
so.
and they go until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're not
I
going to be
understand.
doing that.
Okay, you'd like to say something else, sir, if you take to the lectern?
If there is no intent to use that dining room to serve alcohol, could the license be restricted to that? We'd have no problem with the hours going to 11 at that point. We're just concerned with that room and the windows being open in the summer and it getting a little loud in there because potentially a few people have had too much to drink. So if the license could be restricted that the alcohol would be served and consumed in the front of the gallery where the artwork is instead of in that dining room, that would be a perfectly acceptable solution for us too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further, Counselor?
I could just respond to that. It is necessary, since it is a dining room, if they're doing dinner theater, part of that involves dinner, which is the dining area. And I don't want to be in a situation where my client is now being told,
right,
all right, your people have picked up a drink at this part and can't bring it to the table with them while they're eating.
Yeah.
But, dinner theater, dinner only runs so
No,
long.
I get you, Counselor. Has there been any disturbances in the past? Mrs. Donahue's been in front of this board quite a few times on one-day permits, and unless the LPD is telling us that there's been any calls.
No, there hasn't.
So is it just a concern at this point, or is there something happened in the past that has disturbed you? Yes.
They've been good neighbors. We have no
Okay.
complaints. We actually enjoy going over there.
All right.
We've just been to the gallery and so forth.
If you could just stand up, just get to the lectern. I apologize. Thank you.
So we're just concerned that things will evolve. Again, just as an example, and I know it may not be a good analogy, Uncharted started out as a gallery, then they got liquor license, and now they're basically a rock venue, and they have lots of kids, and they're out in the street and so forth. I know that's not the intent right now, but if there's no constraints on that, there's nothing to prevent something like that potentially happening in the future.
Understood. Concerning asking that alcohol not be present in that part of the space, I think you're kind of restricting their venue at that point. I think if it becomes a disturbance, I would feel free to give the Lowell Police Department a call. But the license would be 11 o'clock, but if they're saying that by 10 o'clock they're pretty much, well, shut down, then I think we need to give them the benefit of the doubt at this point. But if there is the disturbance, then I would definitely call the Lowell Police Department. If it does come, becomes a regular affair, obviously it'll come in front of this board. Okay? Any other questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Donahue.
It's just a question that we're limiting the license to 11.
That's all. They're only applying for the license to
11.
11 o'clock, which is a $500 fee for the year.
And I would state for the commission's concern, I have discussed the noise ordinance with my client. She is aware of it, so certainly has been operating within it and
Very well. Very
intends
well.
to continue to comply with it.
Did I already open up the public hearing? I already did.
Yes, you have to close it.
I had that. Thank you very much. Any other resident likes to speak in opposition? In opposition, hearing no one else, that portion of the public hearing is closed. What is the wish of the body? Move approved by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioner members.
Sir, thank you for your input. All right, I'm going to give this to you. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. I will. Secretary Wynn, if we could take agenda item number 10, number 9 out of order and bring that forward, please.
So, Mr. Chairman, with respect to counsel for the next applicant, and I believe it's permissible under the board's discretion.
Yes.
In lieu of doing number 8, which is the scheduled next meeting agenda item, we'll do number 9 first. This will be the hearing on the application filed by LD Holdings LLC, doing business as Revolution, alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 74 Merrimack Street, for change of manager of record to Joel E. Fetch of Columbiana, Ohio.
Good evening. State your name for the record, please.
Joel Fike.
Hi, Joel. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Would counsel be speaking in your behalf tonight? Attorney Jacobs, or?
Not very much.
All right.
Just be able to ask him questions, and he can
Commissioner?
provide you his background.
Yes.
Are you taking any action here?
I will not be. I will be on number 8.
I think he asked, you answered the reverse question.
For the record, I will be recusing myself from agenda item number 8. We are hearing agenda item number 9 at this point, correct? Correct.
Yes, it would be number 9 in place of number 8, but 8 will be coming up. It's just that.
Okay, and I will be recusing myself from agenda item number 8. For the record.
Sorry,
Legal counsel has asked if I would be recusing myself. I said I will be recusing myself on agenda item number 8, not 9. We all on the same page here?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Joel, tell us about yourself.
Currently, right now, I've been brought aboard by the owners of Revolution as the general manager, so to speak, in waiting. I've done this business for 25 years. I've run 23,000 square foot venues to mom and pop businesses, sports bars, nightclubs, entertainment industry. At this moment, I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, running a $2.5 million, 18,000 square foot live music venue. I know there's been some history and some background that's been brought to my attention, and they went the route to bring me in because I'm quality. I fixed these problems, and I've done it and have a vast past of doing it and being extremely successful.
Very good. Questions, comments on the board? Commissioner Donahue.
Last meeting, we had a young gentleman here, and I inquired of him his experience, and I recommended that perhaps he should put himself together with a resume and maybe come back with showing us something. Counsel, all due respect, that's our application. You've seen it, the application, his resume?
For Joel? Or for
Joel?
Mr. Foreman?
Is it Joel?
For Joel.
For Joel, for sure.
Yes, I am. I'm Joel.
This is what I'm reading, Counsel. I'd like you to take a look at it. And truthfully, when I was applying for jobs when I was 16 years old, I think I put together or printed out something that was a little better than that. This doesn't include the state. It gives an address, but it doesn't even say the city or the state that it's in. This is, thank you. I think it's an insult to the city of Lowell that we get so little information on someone that's coming to take over and clean up as he said, something that he understands has been a problem. I just flabbergasted. When you came with the original application, you had a beautiful presentation, a booklet that showed all kinds of things that were being done. This, I just couldn't believe it when I started to read it. The information is lacking, as I said, to the hometown, the state that the man has worked in and his experience. And I think that's all I have to say at this time, but I was quite surprised.
We're happy to give you his resume, his CV. I don't think you're going to find anybody better or more qualified than this guy. Like I said, happy to give his resume, CV, whatever's, requested, but this is the guy. I mean, these are the people that you guys have been demanding. They're not local. They're from out of town. They've done venues 10 times bigger than this.
It may be, but this doesn't show any of that, does it?
Fair enough, but that's why we have hearings, and that's why the managers of record come to, give their backgrounds and histories. I understand what you're saying, but like I said, happy to provide his resume. You can ask him where he's been the last 10 years. I'm sure he'll, give you a full list. It's not intended to be insulting, it's not intended to be,
We don't know what city he lived in, where he was employed, according to this resume, or this application. 801 South Street, 801 South 10th Street, I guess. City or town, then there's another one. The other experience, city entertainment, Texas. It doesn't tell me a lot. And you can,
Happy to go through the list.
Well, that's my concerns, and the hearing is still open.
Maybe could I clarify some of that?
Well,
possibly.
I would listen to your attorney, or the attorney for the establishment, and I'm open to listening, but this is a rough start. Thank you.
Commissioner Cregan.
We don't have a query because this gentleman has not worked in Massachusetts, but therefore we don't know what his background is. he can provide that information. I'd like to see the information for Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio. And my preference would be to kick this down the road to the next meeting, have that information provided, and have a list of the jobs laid out a little bit better than it is in the form, which I admit is not an ideal form for filling out your resume. So that would be my preference.
Commissioner Howe?
I agree with that, requesting the Corys. What states have you lived in the past 10 years?
Ohio, Texas, and currently Pennsylvania, working right now.
And
He flew in just for this hearing.
how did you hear about this job?
Being that I've done this for 25 years and have contacts all over the country, I came through some people that had known Lauren and her husband, and, you know, phone calls, and then we kind of met, and she had expressed interest. At that time, I was committed to doing this venue in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for a gentleman. Once again, it's a $2.5 million venture. And I would love to give you, you know, websites, Facebook, so you can see the quality that I'm talking about coming from. Once again, when I was in Texas for almost 8 years, we were 23,000 square foot. We had 5 nightclubs under one roof. Before that, I was with a company at a Holiday Inn Metroplex outside of Youngstown, Ohio. That was a 300-room hotel, nightclub, 2 restaurants, convention center. I have owned my own mom-and-pop sports bars and grills. From anywhere from working with public officials to police departments, taking places that need help and fixing them and getting them the way they should be. In all the years I've done this, I've never had one citation for underage drinking, and I pride myself on that. I run quality clubs. We don't let kids in, and we do it the right way from start to finish.
So getting back to Commissioner Donahue's position, I know there's a public hearing and we get a right to question, but we actually prepare beforehand, and it was really impossible to prepare. I mean, I figured out, are you working for Club XL right now?
Yes, that is correct, yes.
And is the other woman who's applying for the other, is she working there too?
That is correct, yes.
And what type of club, what type of place is that?
It is a live music and entertainment venue. We do bands from any genre, from country to rock and roll to comedians, blues, R&B, anywhere from $100,000 acts to $10,000 acts. We fly people in from across the country. When we do DJs, we fly them in from Vegas, Miami, New York. We're extremely upscale. Metal detectors that you walk in through the door, pat downs. All our staff is trained and certified. We don't overserve, we don't underserve. We tolerate no nonsense. All the bouncers that work for us are off-duty Harrisburg full-time police officers.
And you're the general manager of Club XL?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
But you work for, who's your employer?
It's House Key Entertainment.
Right. Because I Googled House Key Entertainment, and I really couldn't find anything, and it's really scary if you can't find something on Google.
Absolutely.
Can you
The
tell me
owner's name
about-
is Phil Dobson. He owns 3 other venues in Harrisburg, and he owns about 200 properties and is a house flipper in the Harrisburg area. He's been there, from my understanding, his whole life. He's 62 years old.
And you've been there since February of 2018?
That is correct.
So you've been there for 6 months, and you're willing to up and move to Lowell or the surrounding area?
I was brought in to find him a staff, hire a staff, train a staff, and put his venue together from start to finish, with the idea that once I did that, I would leave him in a good position, in good hands, and I would look for possibly the next venture down the road.
So how long have you worked for Halsky Entertainment?
Since February.
Okay, so is that Phil Dobson, is that his company?
That is correct, yes.
Right. And then, but your prior employment, general manager for City Entertainment, address is Texas.
Fort Worth, Texas, Sundance Square.
Okay, so that wasn't, did you write this application? Is that your handwriting?
Can I take a look?
Yes.
Yes, that was.
Okay. Right. Go ahead, you can go back. Thank you. So I guess these are pretty simple questions. Address. and you've got Texas, phone, there's no phone. So it was pretty hard to Google or do any research on that.
Right. It is a closed business. It is no longer operational. The gentleman that owned it had done 30 clubs or restaurant in his lifetime. He's 74 years old, from Sweden, and he has since passed away. That club was in existence, that particular one in Sundance Square, for 10 years.
And how long have you known Lauren and her husband?
Basically since this past November, in phone calls and conversations. I flew out here 2 weeks ago, met them, saw the operation, you know, a couple days to look around the town and all that, and then they flew us back out here this weekend based upon the hearing and to take another look and look at housing and, you know, so forth. Obviously, before I say okay to anybody, I do my homework and due diligence. I want to make sure I'm going to go into something that I know we can make successful before I would decide to move and just jump into anything. I pride myself, because I've done this for so many years, on quality, and I know what's expected. When I came to her place, I went up and down and looked through it. I checked the reviews out. I knew the problems they've had there. I wouldn't come on board or even put my name on something that I couldn't fix and do it the right way. And I obviously know from your city, I see the other places, it's a wonderful city. They want quality here. You guys, you know, you deserve a quality place and you don't want to have headaches. That's the only reason I would come on board, would be to fix that and bring a nice place to Lowell.
So I agree with Commissioner Krieger. I'd like the quarries in Ohio, Texas, and Pennsylvania. Also, I'd like a detailed resume from 2008 to present, because we've got Texas for 10 years. So I have no idea of how many establishments you work for, whether it was 1, whether it was 50. So I'd like a detailed resume as well.
I don't really have an objection to providing background checks from other states, but I just want to make sure that the committee understands that's not what's required. That is not an element of the statute. It's not an element of the regulations. A Corey check is what is required. I've often wondered, you know, the same question you're having, but it's totally optional. Happy to provide it, though.
Thank you.
I would concur with my colleagues. Nothing would make me, as the chairman of this board, and the rest of this board, to have a qualified candidate. Now, if Mr. Fight is who he says he is, this is the best applicant, without a doubt, that you've brought before this board. And we'd love to make sure that we turn this club around. There's no question. But I absolutely concur with my colleagues in saying that we have to do our due diligence here. And I'm sure Captain LaFerre agrees, on behalf of the superintendent, that Corey should be supplied, a detailed resume should be brought forward, and with references that we can check. And if in fact everything lines up, Attorney Jacobs, I'll be the first one to say yay.
I appreciate that.
Okay? But we want to make sure this is right.
Absolutely.
I think
Mr. Chairman,
we all do. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I could also interject one thing. With regards to those applications from the ABC, they are PDF documents on the computer. You can type in the information that's been scribbled on the forms, and you can print it out as a hard copy to make it clearer. In fact, the Alcohol Beverages Control Commission requires their applications to be typed.
Okay. You good with that, Attorney Jacobs?
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Donahue.
As I had mentioned at the last meeting, and I've mentioned to Mr. Nguyen, I'm not available for the next meeting, and just so you're, again, aware of that,
right.
If it's the voice of the board to go forward, that's fine. I just had my concerns, and I think I voiced them, and hopefully there'll be better quality of application.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'll ask Commissioner Krieger and Commissioner Howe if they are available, because we obviously want to make sure we have a quorum.
On the 9th?
The 9th? August 9th, our next meeting, Ryan?
So we are scheduled to meet again. The next meeting would be August 9th. We also meet again in August 23rd.
Okay. Commissioner Howe?
I'm available the 9th, not the 23rd.
Commissioner Krieger?
I should be here on the 9th, and I think that we should try and hold this hearing on the 9th.
Okay.
As soon as we can get someone in approved would be good.
All right.
That's fine with me, just so that we get fuller information so that we can deal with
Appreciate
the
that.
concerns. Thank you very much.
Assistant Solicitor Gordon, anything to add, or as the board forgot to ask at this point?
No, I have no issues.
Okay. Attorney Jacobs, do you have any other further questions?
Just one request. Would it be possible to provide the information and hold the next hearing without having them fly back for it? I mean, if there's any other questions you want to ask, we could do that now. At the very least, you'll have, 10 years of employment history, 3 state Corey checks. I don't know, what else you would need from this gentleman.
Commissioner Krieger?
I'm assuming if the Corey checks check out, that, and that the resume looks good, we'll be happy, having seen and heard from the candidate already, that we could forego additional airtime. That's my position.
Commissioner Howe?
Agreed.
Commissioner Donahue?
Agreed.
All right, me as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Spike, nice meeting you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Sean.
So, Mr. Chairman, this application is continued to August 9th?
Correct. For the record, I am recusing myself from agenda item number 8.
Don't go too far.
Mr. Chairman, Dakota has just recused himself on this next item, on the advice of legal counsel. Hearing on the application filed by LD Holdings LLC, doing business as Bar 74 Lounge and Grill, alcoholic beverages restaurant licensee at 7678 Merrimack Street for change of manager of record to Chelsea Lee Grove of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Could we just, counsel, same problems as with the last hearing, but I think that the board would probably go along with listening to you and the young lady give us some information, and then we'll go through the same type of putting it over for further hearing, because it's lacking as well as the last one. Okay?
Understood. I'll just add that I believe they're managers of record on current licenses. So they will have already gone through background checks before a board. I'm still happy to provide the additional Corys, just want to make sure the board understands. They've probably been subject to multiple background checks in every state, every time they get a new application for a new person, and they've been doing this for the better part of 20 years.
And I won't say anything against what you're telling me. It's just we didn't get a fair representation of either the gentleman in the last one or, I believe, of this young lady as to their backgrounds and knowledge in the field.
Let's introduce the young lady.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Grove. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I also work for House Gay Entertainment with Joel, and I've worked for PJD Entertainment 10 years prior to that.
And where was that?
That was 1000 Hannah Street, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Have you worked anywhere else?
Yes, I was a manager for Charlie Brown's Steakhouse, which obviously went out of business. I've bartended at almost every bar downtown in Harrisburg, which I'm still employed at also. I fill in for them.
Out of state anywhere?
I was in Virginia Beach over 10 years ago.
And you were working there?
Yes.
Are we making 10 years our cutoff, Commissioner Howe?
Yes.
Okay. So we're looking for the same background report from the state of Pennsylvania. And looking back as far as they look, we don't need to check Virginia. She has my sympathy working in Virginia Beach.
So just Pennsylvania for Ms. Grove?
Yes.
Any other questions?
I have questions. So you've been the bar manager at, what's the name of the establishment?
House Key Entertainment, which is also Club XL, and then PJ Entertainment, which is also the same owner, Phil Dobson. He owns both of them. And I've been bar manager and bartending at both of those establishments for over 10 years.
And are you tip certified?
I am tip certified, ramp certified, yes. In Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just out of curiosity, how much education do you have? High school?
High school, yes.
Any college?
No.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I'd recommend that we put this over to the next meeting. I think with the same conditions that as long as the information is provided to us, the young lady doesn't need to appear, but we'll get a resume that gives us a clearer idea of who she is.
We will do
You
that.
do?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you folks flying up here and meeting us face to face. And we're looking forward to making a decision in 2 weeks.
There's one other thing. I just want to make sure that there's going to be the Corey check from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
For Ms. Grove.
We got
Yes.
Right. And
Thank
then
you.
For Mr. Feck?
Fight.
Fike. Sorry, I'm going to screw that up. I have a very bad history of torturing last names, apparently. For Joel, it'll be Texas, Pennsylvania,
Ohio.
Ohio. Okay.
I tried to slip West Virginia in there, but nobody else wanted it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, we have on number 10, our meeting agenda item, the application had been filed by a corporation known as Fennell Corporation, doing business as Country Farms. J. Adverd Patel, president, for a transfer of malt beverage and wine only, package store license from Amal Fuel Inc., doing business as Drumhill Gulf. Richard L. Corey, president, and for change of location from the current business address at 1299 Westford Street to 268 Branch Street. It is requested that J. Patel be approved as manager of record for Fennell Corp. For Commission's ratification, it's been scheduled for publication of legal notice in the Lowell Sun newspaper for Friday, July 27th, that's tomorrow morning, and for a hearing to be held for this matter for Thursday, August 9th, 2018. It requires abutters to be notified for the fact it's change of location, and just for Commission's ratification.
Motion by Commissioner Donahue, second by Commissioner Howell. Hold on. Gentlemen, come on up.
Mr. Chairman, if you wish to open up a discussion on a matter that was discussed at the last scheduled meeting, unfortunately, I didn't recall the matter to be put on the agenda, but.
Okay, so this is concerning, I was a nice guy and let Assistant City Solicitor go and leave the last meeting, and we really needed your guidance, but I think what we've got here is our answer. What was in question was, and you can chime in if you like, Assistant Solicitor, an establishment that has a suspension but held in abeyance, if that establishment would be able to participate in the pub crawl. I'm gathering from this ordinance that a suspension is a suspension is a suspension is a suspension.
That would be our position and recommendation as well.
You got your answer there, guys. That was legal counsel giving it to us, so it kind of minimizes your establishments, but obviously...
I do have a question. So how do we prevent being held accountable when the other venues are going to take people? Because last bar crawl, we had 2 venues. Bar crawls that weren't a part of it were the busiest venues.
That's why those establishments have managers of records. Those manager of records have to keep the order at their establishments. It's not you're looking for a permit for actually one place here, right?
Essentially 2.
It's 2, I'm sorry, I apologize, 2. So that is, once again, working hand in hand with the manager of record, those establishments. The establishments that have not been okayed by this board for your pub crawl would not, you would not be liable for. Am I correct in assuming that, Mr. Gordon?
Well, the ordinance that was passed, the pub crawl ordinance, does specify that any establishment that has been suspended during the last year cannot participate. So it doesn't distinguish between suspension or held in abeyance. It just says suspension, and even a one-day suspension that's held in abeyance is deemed to be a suspension.
I'm not sure if that was his question, though.
Yeah, so my question was, last pub crawl that we had, we found out a couple days prior to that pub crawl that certain venues couldn't participate in it.
Could participate?
Could not.
Okay.
Those venues were the busiest venues of the pub crawl. So it's like, it's difficult for us to plan an event. All these people are migrating over to this area that they're not even really supposed to be in. We have details on Middle Street when they're really going up the street. So it's like it's a tough situation for us because, we're trying to make this organized, but with the ordinance, it becomes more chaotic.
Well, I don't know what to say. It's incumbent upon you as the organizers of the pub crawl to ensure that your participants are only visiting those establishments that have been approved. I don't know how you can enforce that, but that's, unfortunately, that's the restriction that's being imposed.
Yeah, I understand. I just don't think it's possible for us to actually stop 500 people or 700 people to go to these venues when, what are we supposed to do? Stop them? It becomes more chaotic for us as an event holder, and I could see it causing problems in the future because it's like instead of an organized time that people are going to these venues, I understand that there's an ordinance on it, but I'm just saying from our standpoint, it's really difficult and it seems more chaotic than when we were doing it and it was more organized and there wasn't an ordinance. I understand there was a situation that happened 2 years ago, but that was 1 out of 16 that we've held.
Right.
I don't know if there's something that could be considered or we could go in front of city council and state our case, but, just coming from our standpoint, we see it more as a recipe for problems than, doing any good from an event standpoint.
Commissioner Howe?
First, I want to thank you for coming again. You guys waited through the whole meeting, and you've been very responsive to our requests. And I think the question you're asking is, I understand the question, but we are constrained by this ordinance. We didn't write this ordinance. We tried to get some discretion from the city council. They didn't want to hear from us on the discretion, because I think if we had seen someone's license in abeyance, we would have said, okay, you can use that establishment. So on your advertisements, just say, limited to these 2. And you can't control where these people go, and you can't
100%.
control the managers of the other organizations.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking your advertising material will help in your limiting your liability. That's my thought.
I understand that we actually purposely didn't put out advertising last time because we were so unsure, and all the advertising we spent money on got changed 3 days prior to our events. We printed out flyers. Dudley's got banned on a Tuesday, I think. The event was on a Saturday, so it was hard for us to actually readjust and start moving, these people to these areas. And I understand what you mean, but once these kids, get there, it just becomes, and for us, it's a concern because if this happens or something happens, we're going to be held accountable whether on Middle Street or whether they're up the street. everyone in the town's going to look at us, or the city's going to look at us, and they're going to say, you know, the streets were, you need public works this time. Well, you know, who's to say that's us or them, or, you know, it's just very difficult for us.
If you comply with the ordinance, you have the extra police protection there, then you've done everything that you can.
Yep. I just think if there's an incident, we're gonna be brought back in front of the board, and it's gonna, you know, prevent us from doing future crawls, and essentially, you know.
I think your explanation has been very beneficial to this board, so if that does happen, we'll deal with that. But I concur with Commissioner Howe in saying that you've been very responsive.
Appreciate
and done everything by the book. I'm a bit disappointed in our city council that they have not taken any of our advice at all, or even listened to us in this. And I would ask, through you, Captain LaFerrier, through Superintendent Webb, and I would ask you, Assistant Solicitor Gordon, through Ms. O'Connor, that these gray areas need to be not gray anymore, needless to say, because these guys are actually doing a good job. They've done a very good job. They've been very responsible. But you know what? I'm a little scared about this one because it is a recipe for disaster. And you got all these. If you have how many patrons were at the last one? 1,200.
I would say 1,200. Yeah.
We had 1,200. So now we're dealing with 2 establishments for this pub crawl that we've granted a permit to. And I don't think we're going to find 1,200 in 2 of those establishments, obviously.
Yeah, I think.
So now we're going to be spreading out the Lowell Police Department to all the other establishments, which these gentlemen are not responsible for, and have not worked with the manager of record of these other establishments. So we need some direction from the city council on how we should proceed any further with pub crawls. Commissioner Donahue.
I'm wondering, is this probably not to be, and maybe a little further down in the fall, there may be another bar or 2 that are able to participate?
We've reached out to every other venue. They weren't.
I'm sorry?
It's just like there's a central location of these crawls. It's kind of right in the center. If you go outside, it's actually going to be worse because you're going to scatter kids down, you know, I don't know what that road is, but even further. So now you're going to have people congregating where.
I'm just thinking that if you have that third, it might take some relief off. But
I don't know.
We're running out
I'm
of.
seeing Captain LaFerrier going like this because it's absolutely right. It's going to be within a close proximity. If not, you're not going to be able to handle this.
We're running out of venues in the city because seriously, 1 citation in 1 year, you know, whether it's eventually our business gets diminished because venues run out, or whether it's, you know, we do 1 venue or 2 venues. It's like we're trying to keep them centrally located.
And unfortunately, this third establishment is what, 1 day away from the abeyance on the suspension. Is that what?
It's close, I believe.
Close to that.
I mean, at that point, do we push the crawl back a week to be beneficial to, you know, I'm looking out for the interest of
I'm just saying to you guys, as business people, is it worth doing it on that date that you had talked about?
Well, we would
looking into another fall date.
Yeah, we would consider
might be more beneficial.
Pushing it back a week if that was.
I can't tell you what to do. I'm just
the way I look at it. You're doing your job. You're working with the Lowell Police Department. If something happens at another establishment, and they know that there's a pub crawl and they're not part of it, and they're not asking for police help that day, well, they're taking a chance, and they could be in front of this board. You're doing your job. I think everybody on this board is happy with the way you've conducted yourselves, and I don't know if there's anything further. Maybe Captain LaFerrier or Mr. Gordon, maybe you can chime in, but I think these gentlemen have done what they're supposed to have done, and I don't know if there's anything else more that they can do.
I'm just thinking that as long as they make sure that they specify the 2 locations that are theirs, that if things happen outside of those purviews, that, you know, a lot of the onus is going to be taken off of you in regards to that. You can't control what other bars do and where people go from there, but you just got to make sure you specify which ones are yours so that you'll be responsible. I would venture to say that you'll be responsible more for them than you will be for any of the other bars.
I understand.
Okay.
And we're gonna know it. I mean, that's just it. And so, and the council, and the board knows it and stuff like that too, so I think it's gonna work in your benefit.
Yep.
Any other further comments? Commissioner Donahue?
I have one quick question for council on a related, well, on a matter of concerning suspension of license.
Hold on one second.
Sure.
You have something concerning this case?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is the responsibility of the city of Lowell if there's a pub crawl with 2 venues and people of the pub crawl wander to other places?
Well, practically speaking, I don't see any liability. If we've
sorry,
authorized,
I
I
can't
don't
hear
see
what
any
you said.
liability in the city if we've authorized the pub crawl to be in 2 locations and the organizer has not, for reasons that I'm hearing, has not controlled it to those 2 locations, and
I'm saying
the crawlies wander.
if they are doing their job and yet people wander off, I mean, they can't.
Well, people
They
can
can't
wander
put a
off
rope
from bars
around the
anywhere, and I don't know that the city is responsible if somebody's wandering off at other bars and causing a problem. The police are going to respond, and you know, and the establishments will be dealt with here by this commission. I don't see that it's any different. We're authorizing a certain event through this commission, and
It's a very gray area for the fact that.
well, I hear the concerns, and I'm going to take it back and discuss it.
An incident could happen on the sidewalk between 3 bars. And we're going to hold them responsible? Who are we going to hold them, who are we going to hold responsible? It was a pub crawl.
Do you want to deny pub crawls throughout the city?
I don't know, maybe we should ask the city council.
I think the ordinance should be amended.
Absolutely. We need some guidance. I think
Well,
we're
can
putting
we
this board.
differentiate between organized pub crawls, these gentlemen, and pickup pub crawls? Because I've been engaged in pickup pub crawls where we wandered around as a pickup group. That's not covered by the ordinance, is it?
I'd have to look at the ordinance again. I don't know what a pickup pub crawl is as.
That's where a bunch of people say, hey,
Let's
let's
go
go
here,
out and
let's
hit
go
some
there.
bars.
I would respectfully ask both the superintendent and the city solicitor to ask the mayor to once again look at this and look at amending this ordinance. I think we're putting the Lowell License Commission in a precarious situation. I really do, and I would ask both you gentlemen for that help. All right? Guys?
Thank you.
All right.
I do
Good luck with your event, all right?
I have one more question, actually.
Sure you do. Good.
So we're slightly within the 1-year suspension rate. What if we were to push it back 1 week? Would we be able to have that 3rd venue be able to participate?
I can't see why not. Commissioner Howe?
Yes,
Is that something that would work?
It would.
if they're within that one, if you meet the 1 year, yes.
So can we do that, I guess is what I'm asking?
Reapply?
Recommend that you talk to Mr. Nguyen as far as the dates, you know, the year date, to make sure that you then have more people and more bars involved.
I just think it's safer for like the entire city, honestly. I think it decreases the risk of the event, and I think it increases, you know, a more safe environment, more controlled, rather than so chaotic, where people are showing up at this venue now at 2 o'clock rather than the 5 o'clock we scheduled the police to go over there because that was their designated time. I think it just, instead of everyone saying, oh, go here, and then 500 people run, and we're standing there trying to stop everyone. It's impossible.
You know what? We need you on this board. You know, I think you'd be great on this board.
We actually need a singer, too. I heard Mr. Donahue.
You gotta stay a couple more hours. He does a solo act.
It's just trying to be successful
No, you know what?
for everybody, seriously.
To be quite frank, I think it's a great idea.
I just think last time it was so bad because, and it was like completely out of our control. We lost control because it was like, okay, we don't want to end up back in front of the liquor board. The venues don't want to end up back into it. So, let's implement a cover charge so that, you know, and put a sign outside that says no pub crawl. We'll go look at the line. It's all pub crawl. So what is the difference?
What was it, 1 week? that they were shot on that abeyance, Ryan? The establishment that was suspended for 1 year? What, was it 1 week prior being held in abeyance, or?
What establishment are you asking?
The establishment that was not granted as part of the permit for the pub crawl, they were held in abeyance for 1 year. And wasn't it, was it Dudley's? Dudley's.
Well, Dudley's is a one-day suspension that was
held in abeyance.
On March 22nd this year, they had a hearing, and there was a one-day suspension, and the abeyance was 6 months. The abeyance is to expire September 22nd. But here's the point, it's within 1 year. So even if the abeyance, it was a probationary period, the suspension of 1 day is within the 1 year. So this, Dudley's is out of
That's
this.
right.
Year.
Cannot be included as a part of the venue.
So from a business standpoint, this gets very tough because we're kind of, as you know, promoting an event, getting diminished and diminished and diminished in each venue, and then our overhead kind of goes up because now we're supposed to hire DPW and 5 police officers. So it's becoming very difficult.
I think at this point,
it's
it
becoming very
is a
tricky.
business decision you have to make.
No, I understand that, and I understand
That's
that this board has nothing to do with the economics of the business or anything like that. But it's just, I guess we're stating our case of our concerns, and what we foresee could be a problem. And
We're trying to.
I understand.
You know what? Pick up the phone and give some of your city councilors calls if you live in Lowell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
Guys, have a good night. Thank you. Commissioner Donahue, you had something to add?
One quick question. There was a decision by the ABCC to accept a compromise on a suspension that they found 22 days. There was a compromise in that decision rather than the 22-day suspension that they pay a fine. The wording in the letter that comes from the ABCC and goes to the establishment involved, compromise in lieu of suspension. My concern is, how do we interpret that as far as the 1 year on the pub crawls? Is a suspension, a fine rather, the same as a suspension? Are we now getting into an area where, while they weren't suspended, they
were suspended. They were suspended for 22 days, but they paid it off through the alternate procedure of a fine, but they were still suspended.
You're saying that that word in the letter doesn't mean anything, in lieu of, it's still the suspension?
In lieu of serving the suspension. Not in lieu of having been suspended.
Right.
So for clarity's sake, they would not be able to participate in a pub
Correct.
crawl for 1 year.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good question. Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Howe to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Everyone have a good night. Thank you.